The trailer for Heartland Season 19 has left fans on edge, whispering the same chilling question. Are we about to witness Tim Fleming's final goodbye? For years, Tim has been the heartbeat of drama, conflict, and redemption in Heartland. But now, every shadow in the trailer, every heavy pause, and every haunting line of dialogue feels like a warning. Could this be the end of one of the most unforgettable characters in the show's history? From the very beginning, Tim Fleming has been more than just a character. He has been a symbol of struggle, resilience, and the long road to redemption. When he first returned to the ranch after years of absence, fans didn't welcome him with open arms. His choices, his mistakes, and his stubborn pride made him one of the most divisive figures in Heartland. Yet, as the seasons unfolded, so did his journey. We watched him stumble through failures, clash with Jack, frustrate his daughters, and fight against the ghosts of his past. And still, beneath all that, there was a man who never stopped trying. That relentless fight to be a better father, a better partner, and a better man is what slowly turned him from an outsider into a cornerstone of the Bartlett-Fleming family. Season 19 doesn't shy away from this history. In fact, it brings all those years of pain, growth, and fragile peace back to the surface. The new trailer doesn't show us the loud, fiery Tim we know so well, but instead a man weighed down by memories. He is quieter, slower, more reflective, and the silence surrounding him feels louder than words ever could. He lingers in spaces tied to his past, the barn, the tools, the land itself, as if he's already saying farewell. These are not random moments. Heartland has always used subtle details to foreshadow the future, and this time, the message feels heavy. For fans, the thought of losing Tim is almost impossible to accept. He has been there through every storm the family faced, sometimes as the cause of the chaos, but more often as the one who pulled everyone back together. When Amy needed strength after Ty's death, when Lou struggled with her responsibilities, when Jack faced the weight of age and loss, Tim stood alongside them. Not perfectly, not without flaws, but with a raw humanity that made him real. That is why the new season feels different. The quiet glances, the broken tone in his voice, the way the camera lingers on him. It all suggests that the man who has carried so many battles may be reaching the end of his fight. But is this really a farewell, or is it just another misdirection? Heartland has a history of toying with emotions, weaving stories that prepare us for grief only to twist the narrative in a way no one expects. The haunting line, "There comes a time when a man has to face the truth," plays like a confession. But what truth is Tim talking about? Is it his health, his legacy, or something far more final? These questions are what make the wait for Season 19 unbearable. Every clue feels deliberate. Every pause feels like a piece of a puzzle that might spell the end of Tim Fleming's journey. As the season prepares to unfold, one thing is certain: this isn't just another storyline. This is a turning point. If Tim truly says goodbye, Heartland will never be the same again. The family will break, rebuild, and carry on, but something essential will be missing. And even if he survives, the trailer has already changed the way fans see him. Tim is no longer the unshakable presence he once was. He is mortal, fragile, and facing battles that no one can fight forever. That reality, whether it leads to death, departure, or transformation, has set the stage for one of the most emotional seasons in Heartland's history. What makes the Season 19 trailer so powerful is not only Tim's presence, but the way his family reacts around him. Heartland has always been about connections, the ties that bind, the conflicts that tear people apart, and the quiet moments that heal. In this trailer, every family member carries a weight that seems impossible to ignore. Jack, the strong backbone of the ranch, is shown with a face that tells a story of loss before any words are spoken. His eyes are tired, his shoulders heavy, and it feels as though he is bracing himself for another heartbreak. Lou is caught in a delicate balance. Her tears threaten to fall, but she holds them back, determined to be the strength her family needs, even while she quietly crumbles inside. And Amy, the heart of Heartland, wears the look of someone who has already been through too much loss. The sadness in her expression is unmistakable, as though she knows another storm is coming and she cannot stop it. These emotional glimpses are no accident. Heartland has a history of preparing fans for tragedy through the family's reactions long before the event takes place. When Ty's departure was foreshadowed, we first saw it through Amy's silent grief and Jack's protective concern. Now, the same cinematic language is being used again, but this time the focus is on Tim. It is through the family's eyes that we begin to understand the gravity of his situation. the trailer almost feels like an unspoken goodbye, with every character silently acknowledging what the audience fears most, that Tim's time may be running out. The choice of music only intensifies this sense of looming loss. Gone are the hopeful, nostalgic melodies that usually guide Heartland's stories. In their place, we hear stripped-down strings, somber tones, and quiet beats that mimic the fading pulse of a man nearing his final chapter. Music in Heartland has always been carefully chosen. It never simply fills space. It shapes the story. And in this case, the music feels funereal, a haunting rhythm that follows Tim like a shadow. Each note is designed to pull us closer to the idea of grief, to prepare us for the possibility that the show is ready to say goodbye to him. Symbolism is another layer the trailer uses to send its message. One of the most striking images is Tim standing alone in the wide pasture, watching horses run free across the field. Horses have always represented spirit, freedom, and continuity in Heartland. To see Tim apart from them, watching rather than riding, creates a chilling visual metaphor. It suggests that while life and freedom continue, his role within it may be coming to an end. He is no longer in motion, no longer part of the rhythm of the ranch. Instead, he stands still, watching the world move without him. It's a subtle, yet powerful way of hinting at farewell. And then there is his haunting line, "There comes a time when a man has to face the truth." These words are not just dialogue, they feel like a confession, a warning, and perhaps even a farewell wrapped in wisdom. In Heartland, dialogue often carries double meaning. What sounds like simple reflection is usually foreshadowing, a glimpse into the larger story to come. When Tim speaks these words, his voice cracks, the music cuts, and silence lingers just long enough to sink into the viewer's mind. It is not simply something he is saying, it feels like something he is leaving behind, a message for his family and for the fans who have followed his journey from the very start. Yet Heartland thrives on uncertainty. Every clue, every symbolic image, every emotional pause could be pointing toward Tim's death or toward something entirely different. Is this the story of a man preparing for his final goodbye, or is it the story of a man confronting his mortality but finding a way to endure? The brilliance of the trailer is that it refuses to give a clear answer. It leaves the audience trapped between fear and hope, replaying every frame to search for hidden meaning. This uncertainty is what fuels the storm of fan theories. Some believe the evidence is undeniable, that Tim's weakened posture, his reflective tone, and his family's grief all point to one outcome: his death. Others argue that the show is too clever to give away such a massive loss in a trailer, suggesting instead that we are being misled, set up for a twist that will shock us in an entirely different way. Whether it is finality or misdirection, one truth remains. Heartland Season 19 has turned Tim Fleming into the center of its most emotional mystery yet. And that is why this moment feels so monumental. If Tim is truly leaving, it would not simply mark the end of a character, it would mark the end of an era. The close of a story arc that has carried themes of redemption, forgiveness, and second chances for nearly 2 decades. But if he survives, then this chapter could redefine him once again, transforming him from a man haunted by his past into one who accepts his future. Either way, the trailer has already done its job. It has made us feel the weight of Tim's mortality, the fragility of time, and the ache of what might be his final goodbye. The tension around Tim's fate deepens with every passing moment, and now Heartland Season 19 begins to uncover the weight of his choices. Tim Fleming has never been a man to back down from life's challenges, but this season doesn't just test his resilience, it threatens to break it. As the episodes unfold, viewers are drawn into a web of fear, silence, and unanswered questions. The air around him feels heavy with secrets, and every interaction suggests that the truth about his future is far darker than anyone is ready to admit. Tim has always walked the fine line between strength and recklessness, but this time, that line is blurred, and it leaves the people who love him terrified. Amy, caught between her own struggles and the storm surrounding her father, starts to sense that something is slipping through her fingers. Her instincts, sharpened through years of reading horses and understanding emotions, tell her that Tim is hiding something monumental. But Tim, stubborn as ever, tries to keep the walls around him intact. He convinces himself that by shouldering the burden alone, he is protecting his family. Yet, in reality, his silence only deepens their fears. This disconnect creates a painful atmosphere in the Heartland Ranch, where love and loyalty clash with the harshness of truth left unspoken. It's here that viewers begin to feel the emotional gravity of Tim's storyline, an unraveling that could lead to either redemption or heartbreak. Jack, the steady rock of the family, notices these shadows hanging over Tim. He has seen this before, the way pride and fear can drive a man into isolation. Jack's presence becomes more crucial than ever as he quietly observes Tim's choices, waiting for the moment when he might be forced to intervene. The tension between these two men, bound by family yet divided by secrets, becomes one of the most powerful dynamics of the season. Their silent conversations, the glances, the pauses, all suggest that something irreversible is on the horizon. And the audience, piecing together these subtle cues, can't help but feel the dread building with every episode. Meanwhile, the rest of the family feels the ripple effects of Tim's silence. Lou struggles with the idea of holding the family together when so much seems to be slipping apart. Katie and Lindy, too young to understand the full picture, sense the tension in every dinner table conversation and every uneasy smile. This generational divide between innocence and experience only makes the emotional stakes higher. For longtime fans, this narrative thread pulls at the heart because it mirrors the real-life struggles of holding a family together while facing the possibility of losing someone dear. As the mystery of Tim's fate intensifies, the writers weave in a sense of haunting inevitability. Small moments, a sudden cough, a missed step, a lingering gaze at the ranch he built, become loaded with meaning. They force the audience to question, are these signs of farewell, or are they red herrings designed to keep everyone on edge? That uncertainty fuels the suspense, keeping fans glued to the unfolding drama. Tim's stubborn refusal to seek help, paired with his fierce love for his family, becomes the emotional storm at the heart of Season 19. Every choice he makes feels like a ticking clock, reminding us that time is running out. This section of the story doesn't offer answers, it deepens the questions. It's about the silence between words, the truths hidden behind forced smiles, and the love that struggles to find expression when fear takes over. Heartland Season 19 makes the audience feel that they're standing right beside Amy, Jack, and Lou, searching for clues in Tim's behavior, terrified of what the truth might reveal. The suspense isn't just about whether Tim lives or dies, it's about whether the family can survive the weight of this uncertainty, and whether love will be strong enough to carry them through. By the end of this arc, one thing becomes painfully clear. Whatever Tim is facing, the goodbye, emotional or physical, may already be written in the silence of his heart. The storm around Tim's fate grows heavier as Heartland Season 19 reaches its most emotionally charged moments. The silence that once felt like a shield now becomes unbearable, pressing down on everyone in the family. Every episode seems to peel away another layer of Tim's guarded life, and what remains is a portrait of a man caught between his pride and his fear. He has always been the one to ride headfirst into danger, but this time the danger isn't on a racetrack or a ranch. It's within himself. That realization transforms his character from the bold cowboy we've always known into someone far more fragile, someone whose strength may not be enough to win this battle. And as the truth edges closer to being revealed, the suspense reaches a breaking point. Amy's role becomes even more central here. She has always been the emotional compass of Heartland, and in Season 19, her instincts become sharper than ever. Watching her father struggle ignites a fierce determination in her heart. She refuses to accept silence as an answer and begins confronting Tim in ways she never dared before. Their exchanges carry a raw tension, Amy's voice heavy with love and frustration, Tim's with defiance and denial. These confrontations are not just between a daughter and her father. They are symbolic of the clash between love that wants to heal and fear that refuses to admit weakness. For the audience, these moments are both painful and gripping, because they show that sometimes the hardest truths are the ones spoken to the people we love most. Jack's presence also looms larger in this part of the season. His wisdom, his patience, and his deep understanding of family dynamics all come into play. Jack knows better than anyone that silence can destroy a family from within. He becomes the quiet but steady anchor for Amy and Lou, offering them strength when their hope begins to waver. But even Jack struggles with the possibility that he might not be able to save Tim this time. Their bond as father figures to Amy and Lou creates a powerful contrast, one man fading under the weight of his secret, the other doing everything he can to hold the family together. This dynamic is a reminder that Heartland is not just about horses and ranch life. It's about family, resilience, and the pain of confronting the fragility of life. Lou, too, reaches her breaking point. As the one who often takes on responsibility for keeping the family united, she finds herself torn between anger and heartbreak. Her frustration with Tim's silence erupts in moments of raw honesty where she begs him to stop pushing them away. These scenes strike a deep emotional chord with the audience because they mirror the very real experience of watching a loved one retreat behind walls of pride. Katie and Lindy, innocent yet perceptive, sense the weight pressing down on their family. Their confusion and fear add another layer of poignancy, reminding viewers of what's at stake if Tim doesn't confront the truth. As the narrative tightens, the symbolism becomes unavoidable. Every moment Tim spends lingering near the ranch, every look he casts toward his family, feels like an unspoken goodbye. The suspense is suffocating, not because of what is shown, but because of what remains unsaid. Is Tim preparing his family for the inevitable, or is he silently gathering the strength to fight back against whatever fate has placed in his path? The lack of clarity is what keeps fans on edge, their hearts torn between hope and dread. Every pause, every hesitation in Tim's words feels like a clue, urging viewers to piece together the puzzle of his fate. This section of Season 19 is about emotional breaking points. It's about the moments when love collides with fear, when silence can no longer hold back the truth, and when every character is forced to confront the possibility of losing someone they thought was unshakable. The tension doesn't come from loud confrontations or dramatic outbursts. It comes from the quiet moments, the lingering stares, and the heavy pauses that speak louder than words ever could. Heartland thrives on these subtle emotional cues, and here they are at their most powerful. By the end of this stretch of the story, one thing is certain. Whether Tim survives or not, the emotional goodbye has already begun. The question that haunts every viewer is whether that goodbye will be temporary or final. As Heartland Season 19 moves into its most pivotal stage, the weight of Tim's silence finally reaches its breaking point. For so long, he has tried to protect his family by keeping the truth locked inside. But secrets never stay hidden forever. The atmosphere at the ranch is no longer just tense. It is suffused with the aching sense that time is slipping away. Every conversation feels unfinished, every gesture tinged with the fear that it could be the last. It is here, in this quiet storm of emotions, that the story forces both the characters and the audience to face the possibility of goodbye. And it is not just Tim's fate on the line, it is the strength of the family itself. Amy, no longer willing to let silence dictate their lives, pushes harder than ever to reach her father. Her words cut through the barriers he has built, demanding honesty, demanding love in its rawest form. She doesn't just want answers, she wants connection. Her desperate plea isn't only about survival, it's about ensuring that whatever time they have left together, whether short or long, is filled with truth and not regret. These emotional confrontations form some of the most unforgettable scenes of the season because they reflect a universal fear, losing someone without ever truly saying what needs to be said. Lou's journey in this stage becomes equally powerful. She shifts from anger to acceptance, realizing that her father's silence was never meant to hurt them, but to shield them. That realization changes her approach. Instead of demanding answers, she begins offering him comfort and presence, showing him that no matter the outcome, he won't face it alone. This softening of her heart provides a beautiful counterbalance to Amy's determination, reminding viewers that love can be expressed through both strength and gentleness. For Katie and Lindy, the innocence of their questions and the simplicity of their love for their grandfather cut through the heaviness, reminding everyone why this fight matters so deeply. Jack, ever the pillar, finds himself walking a painful line between preparing the family for the worst and holding on to hope. His wisdom offers a guiding light, but even he cannot hide the sorrow in his eyes as he watches Tim struggle. Their bond, layered with decades of history, becomes one of the season's most poignant threads. When Jack finally speaks the truths Tim refuses to, it feels less like confrontation and more like an offering of grace, a reminder that vulnerability is not weakness, but love in its purest form. The suspense in this section lies not in sudden twists or shocking reveals, but in the quiet unraveling of truth. The audience is left clinging to every word, every silence, wondering if this is the moment when Tim will finally break and share his secret. And when he does, the impact is devastating yet cathartic. Whether it is an illness, a choice, or something far more symbolic, The revelation reshapes not only his own path, but the entire family's future. The emotional goodbye that has lingered like a shadow throughout the season now stands at the forefront. Undeniable and heartbreaking, yet even in the face of despair, Heartland does what it has always done best. It finds hope in the smallest of moments. A quiet embrace between father and daughter, a shared smile around the dinner table, a ride through the open fields where words aren't needed. These fragments of love remind viewers that goodbyes, whether temporary or final, can still be filled with beauty. By the close of this arc, the family is not shattered by the truth, but drawn closer together by it. And the audience, though left with tears in their eyes, feels the strength of the message that love endures beyond fear, beyond silence, and even beyond goodbye. This is what makes Tim's fate in season 19 so unforgettable. It isn't just about whether he survives or not, it's about the legacy he leaves in the hearts of those who love him. His story is one of courage, pride, stubbornness, and ultimately the realization that the greatest strength lies not in hiding pain, but in sharing it. The emotional goodbye may break hearts, but it also binds them, leaving fans with a haunting yet beautiful reminder that every moment with the ones we love is a gift, and every goodbye, no matter how painful, carries within it the seed of love everlasting.